Okay, please join me in gassho. Please put your palms together. Although scarcely unexpected, Myohobo's attainment of birth still makes me deeply happy. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Nammanda Butsu. Nammanda. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to this year's Ho-onko service. And how did you enjoy the chanting of Shoshinge? Did you like it? Some people say it's long, some people say, yeah, I enjoyed it, right? You know what? I was in Joro Shinshu Center in Berkeley, was it 2 weeks ago? I think 2 weeks ago. We had a lecture on the Larger Sutra, which is the sutra we rely on. We chanted whole Larger Sutra, which has 2 volumes. So, do you see these scrolls? Do you see them? Larger Sutra. These 2. Contemplation Sutra, which is a little bit narrower, right? Amida Sutra. So it's really short, right? So we divided Larger Sutra into 4 parts, and we chanted Larger Sutra. One session was like 45 minutes. So it took 3 hours to, chant whole Larger Sutra, right? So compared to the Larger Sutra, what do you think? Shoshinge is much shorter, right? But Shoshinge, we chant Shoshinge on this special occasion of Ho-onko because Shoshinge is written by our founder, Shinran Shonin. And this contains the teaching of Joro Shinshu. So that's why we chant Shoshinge at this memorial service for Shinran Shonin. Then, do you know when Shinran Shonin was born and when he passed away? Do you know which year it is? Okay. So Shinran Shonin was born May 21st, 1173. He passed away January 16th, 1263. Used to be there was a number saying like 1262, but now with the modern research, it's more likely 1263. That's why I use the number 1263. However, we Japanese used the lunar calendar until 1872, so about 150 years ago. And according to the lunar calendar, Shinran Shonin was born on April 1st and passed away November 28th. So, in Kyoto, there are 2 Honganji. One is Nishi, and another is called Higashi Honganji, which is, Nishi is the head temple of our tradition, and Higashi is the head temple of a branch of Joro Shinshu called Otagiha branch. Then, I might have talked about this before, but I often hear that people who went to Japan, say that, oh, sensei, I went to Honganji. And I ask, which one? Right? So some people think that Higashi Honganji is Nishi Honganji, and they visit Higashi Honganji and they don't go to Nishi Honganji, right? But, it does not mean that you cannot visit Higashi Honganji, but, please visit Higashi Honganji. They have beautiful temple too, but, I wanted to make sure our head temple is Nishi Honganji, okay? Then, how can we find out which is which, right? Which temple is which? And I have talked about this before, but if you are unsure which Honganji you are at, please go inside of the hondo, and do you see, maybe it's hard to see from behind, do you see the obvious difference in the picture? So look for the direction of the tatami mat. It is horizontal against the outer area, then that is Nishi Honganji. If it is vertical, then that is Higashi Honganji. So when you go inside of Hondo and see the vertical, then you say, oops. But Nishi and Higashi is not too far, so you can visit both of them in one day. So anyway, because Jodo Shinshu is the biggest Buddhist group in Japan, if Nishi and Higashi had the Ho-onko at the same time, then it's gonna be crazy, right? We might have to wait for 4 or 5 hours to get into a restaurant, right? And then we might have no chance to reserve a hotel room. So Higashi follows the lunar calendar and observes Ho-onko in November, and Nishi follows the solar calendar and observes Ho-onko in January to avoid having too many people in Kyoto. But local temples in Japan wants to attend the Ho-onko service in Kyoto. So, Nishi Honganji's Ho-onko is in January, right? So local temples of Nishi branch observe the Ho-onko service other than January, right? So that is why we, Sacramento Betsin, observe Ho-onko in November, okay? I hope you learned something. But in Japan, we have otoki luncheon after Ho-onko service. And we don't eat meat or fish on the day of Ho-onko. We usually eat meat or fish, right? But on the day of Ho-onko, we don't eat. And it is said that Shinran Shonin liked azuki bean, that's a red bean, and daikon radish. So many temples make something with azuki beans and daikon radish. And Shimane Prefecture, where I'm from, makes kenchan soup. Kenchan soup. Yeah. I talked about this in Japanese gathering too, but kenchan soup is a kind of soup with lots of vegetables, like taros, carrots, daikon radish, and konnyaku and tofu. So, I wish I had a picture of my home temple's kenchan soup, but, I found this online. And each temples have own recipe of their kenchan soup. So, do you know what happens? All temples are saying, our kenchan is the best, right? And this sounds like BCA's teriyaki chicken, right? But I'm sure our kenchan is the best. So, if you have a chance, please visit my home temple's Ho-onko service. But anyway, so Ho-onko's Ho-on means repaying the debt of gratitude we owe. Repaying the debt of gratitude we owe. And Ko means gathering. Ko means gathering. So Ho-onko means the gathering of repaying the debt of gratitude we owe to Shinran Shonin. Then some people may wonder, what do we owe from the person who lived over 750 years ago? Right? So for me, both of my parents were from Jodo Shinshu Temple family. My grandfathers were good friends. And one day, they set up the marriage meeting for my dad and mom. That is why they got married. And that is why I was born eventually, right? So although it is indirect causes, I could say that I was born into this world because of Shinran Shonin. And also, the teaching of the Pyalan became the guiding light for me when I lost my mother 22 years ago. Yeah, long time ago. So I owe the debt of gratitude to Shinran Shonin for his efforts to share the teaching of the Pyalan path and Nembutsu. So since today's Ho-onko service, I know it's been already an hour, But I try to make it shorter than Matsumoto Sensei's talk on October 8th. Okay, but I like to talk about Shinran Shonin and his teaching. So simply saying, Joro Shinshu teaching is a teaching to self-reflect our daily action through encountering the wisdom of the Buddha and appreciate Amida's great compassion to grasp us and never abandon us. So when we begin to self-reflect our daily actions, it starts to turn our ideas. So when I first came to Sacramento Betsin, I have talked about this. Do you remember this? How to surrender the me for the we, right? It is to turn our idea, right? Just to turn our idea. So I like to focus on the example of turning the idea by sharing the story of Shinran Shonin's disciple named Myohobo. So Shinran Shonin was living in Kyoto when Myohobo passed away. So this is the Japanese map if you are not familiar with Japanese geography. Shinran Shonin received a letter from student in Kanto region to inform Shinran Shonin that Myohobo passed away. And as you see, Kanto region is the east side of Japan, and Kanto to Kyoto is like here to LA. Then back then, there were no cars or anything, or airplane, right? And most of the time, people traveled by feet, and it was not civilized back then, right? So there were bandits, wild animals, and so on. So they had to risk their lives to travel. And then, when a person passes away, I think our natural response to those who lost their loved ones is to say something like, "Oh, I'm sorry for your loss." Or I express my deepest condolence to you, right? But Shinran Shonin wrote them back as, "Although scarcely unexpected, Myohobo's attainment of birth still makes me deeply happy." So if I receive a phone call to conduct makuragyo or pillow service, and I say something like, "Oh, your dad passed away. I'm so happy for you." Then the family never would talk to me again, right? But Shinran Shonin said he is deeply happy. There is a reason for this. So when Shinran Shonin was about 45 years old, he was living in Kanto region. He was trying to spread the teaching of Nembutsu there. Some people did not feel good about Shinran Shonin and the teaching of Nembutsu, and they thought that is evil and wrong teaching. And that was the mountain monk in Kanto region, mountain monk. Then mountain monk was practicing in the mountain, and they were trying to gain supernatural, mysterious power inside of them through accomplishing the difficult practices. Then one of the leaders of mountain monks, his name was Bennen. He was so jealous of Shinran Shonin's ability to attract people, and he had the idea that what Shinran Shonin is spreading is evil teaching. So one day, he decided to kill Shinran Shonin to protect what he believes in. So Bennen attempted to kill Shinran Shonin at one of the mountains for a few times, but he failed each time. So finally, Bennen visited Shinran Shonin's house to actually kill him. So he shouted from outside of the house, "Come out, Shinran." Then Shinran Shonin came out unarmed. When Bennen saw Shinran Shonin coming out of the house with calmness, he was impressed by Shinran Shonin's appearance, and Bennen changed his mind and told Shinran Shonin honestly, "I came here to kill you, but when I saw you, I started to think that I should not kill this person. So please forgive me, and please let me become your disciple. So a person who tried to kill Shinran Shonin became a disciple of Shinran Shonin, and he received the Buddhist name Myohobo. This Myohobo passed away at the age of 68 when Shinran Shonin was 79 years old. So I think Shinran Shonin was recollecting the memory of Myohobo when he received a letter to inform him that Myohobo passed away. And Shinran Shonin was happy because Myohobo tried to kill Shinran Shonin, but eventually he enjoyed the teaching of Nembutsu, and he attained birth into the Pure Land, that is the realm of enlightenment to attain Buddhahood. So the teaching of the Nembutsu turned one person's idea and changed that person's life. That is why Shinran Shonin said, Myohobo's attainment of birth still makes me deeply happy. So now, I'd like to go back to the first part of the words of Shinran Shonin's letter. And he said, although scarcely unexpected, right? So as I mentioned earlier, when we lose someone we love, or when we hear someone passed away, our natural response is to feel sadness or surprise to hear the news of the passing. However, Shinran Shonin said, scarcely unexpected to hear Myohobo's passing, which means people's passing did not surprise him. So one of the ministers in Japan, Reverend Joen Amagishi, said that Shinran Shonin wasn't surprised by the passing of the people, which means that he was surprised by the fact he is living this moment. So his idea is totally opposite from our understanding of life. So I could say that we are living with common understanding of the life, but Shinran Shonin lived with the Buddha's understanding of life through receiving the wisdom of Buddha. So, what do you think? Did you surprise us, wow, I'm still alive, when you woke up this morning? You know, every time I ask this question, some people say, yeah, I did. Yeah. But, you know, most of people didn't feel, didn't you feel as, oh man, it's Sunday. I have to go to church. Yeah, right? That's typical response, right? But we won't be surprised by waking up every morning because we take each day for granted. Right? So I myself feel as this way. Every morning, I wake up around the same time, take a shower, change my clothes, eat breakfast, think about what my schedule of the day is like, and then drive to Beijing, right? I often feel like I am just repeating the same routine. However, as Rev Shonin said, the fragile nature of human existence underlies both the young and the old. So we never know when our lives comes to an end. It may be today or tomorrow. Who is to know? So we should be surprised and be amazed by the fact that we are living still. But as I mentioned earlier, what we do often is to take each day for granted. So this is why we need to rely on the wisdom of the Buddha instead of relying our own wisdom. So when we begin to see our lives through the wisdom of the Buddha, we begin to feel that everything around us as precious thing. Even something like breathing the air, drinking tea, or eating teriyaki chicken, that kind of thing is precious thing. So this is the Buddha's understanding of life. And we are always in the working of the Buddha to guide us to this truth of life. So that is why Jodo Shinshu emphasizes gratitude. So living this life is not to be taken for granted, but it is amazing thing that we are living this moment. How precious we are able to live today, spending time with family and friends and chant Shoshinge together, right? So we never know how many days or years we will be able to live like today. But by turning our ideas from common understanding of the life to the Buddha's understanding of life, we can truly live as fully as we can and focus to live each day at fullest. So finally, I have mentioned that Ho-onko is the gathering to repay the debt of gratitude we owe to Shinran Shonin. Then, how to repay the debt of gratitude we owe to Shinran Shonin? So what Shinran Shonin told us is that the teaching of Nembutsu. So entrust ourselves to the working of Amida's primal vow, recite Nembutsu, and attain birth in the Pure Land, which is the realm of enlightenment, to attain Buddhahood. So strictly saying, how we repay the debt of gratitude is to listen to the teaching, receive shinjin, entrusting heart, and recite Nembutsu in response with gratitude to Amida's working, to grasp and never abandon us, right? But how we can express our gratitude is varied, right? It takes various forms. So sharing the joy of encountering the teaching through cooking, that's fine, right? Sharing the joy of encountering the teaching through music, that is fine too. So my way of expressing the gratitude to Shinran Shonin is, of course, to share the message like today, but as you know, I also play music. So I would like to play one of the music to express my gratitude to Shinran Shonin and his teachings. And during pandemic, I have recorded the rock version of Shinran-sama, and I played, Shinran-sama at the joint service, and I hope everybody enjoyed it. Then I also recorded Shinshu Shuka, Ondoku-san 2, and Seiya. So, today I would like to share rock version of Seiya. So if you know the words or the music, please sing along. It is on page 163 of the service book. But It's always to find the best balance of the music and guitar. But I hope you enjoyed. If you want to sing again, it is on my YouTube channel, so you can find the video of this video. But yeah, thank you very much. Thank you.